Welcome back to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. It's Jim and Tim on an exciting Sunday evening. And Tim, it's time for the mbsdpipes.com Prop 69 warning.
All right. Well, warning everybody. This podcast will expose the listener to insensitive, offensive, and otherwise off-putting and socially unacceptable content known to the state of California to cause cancer. If you choose to stay into the podcast, you do so at your own risk. And if you want to do otherwise, then you're just a pussy.
To put it bluntly.
Don't sugarcoat it, Tim. Tell it like it is. Attaway. And we'd like to thank mbsdpipes.com, as always, for sponsoring our intro. And tonight, we have a legend with us.
Legend.
We had his partner on 2 weeks ago, and now we have the man himself, Jay Furman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. What's up, guys?
How you doing, Dave?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not drinking Fireball, okay? It's not happening. No. I love Mike like a brother, but the fact that he drinks like an 18-year-old girl, that's his own thing.
That is embarrassing. It's got to be embarrassing for you.
Well, look, he can drink what he wants. I just don't have to share and partake in it or see it or know about it.
At least it wasn't peppermint schnapps. We could have gotten ugly then.
That would have been different.
Fuzzy navels. Something terrible. Something terrible. So Jay, co-star of the legendary Pipe and Tamper podcast. What are you smoking tonight, and what are you smoking it out of?
Well, since it's 9:30, almost 10 o'clock, this is my last smoke of the night. So this will be a Scudo. I have, I don't know, 2 or 3 coins in here, and a Brad Pullman Lavat.
Very nice pipe.
Is it? I've posted before. This is actually one that it has his old logo. It's an older piece. He actually, when I showed it to Silver Gray, she showed it to Brad right away, and he recognized it. It was one that he made for Chuck Stanion. He does a lot of writing on Smoking Pipes blog. Mm-hmm. It was actually made for him. And then now it's mine.
Oh, well, there you go. Actually, we talked about Chuck Stanion's writing last week on the episode. He and Jeremy Reeves did a very nice dissertation on the semantics of pipe tobacco blends.
Yeah, I still have it in my my list. I didn't get to it yet.
Yeah, it's a good article.
It was interesting, and I think we ought to just keep rolling right along with our pipe tobacco talk. You're a legendary Escudo fan, Jay. What else are you smoking currently? What's in your rotation?
In my regular rotation of tobacco, always Escudo. Stonehenge Flake, I always have. Evening Flake, I always have. And then I really just have a bunch of stuff that I scatter around. I always have an aromatic every day. I have Vapors every day. English I'll have every day. When you smoke 6 to 8 bowls a day, you can have some variety.
Yeah. Were you a cigarette smoker before you picked up a pipe?
Well, I was, to tell you the truth, I was a cigarette smoker before I smoked the pipe, but I smoked the pipe and cigarettes at the same time. I got my first pipe when I was, 16.
Is that right?
I was smoking cigarettes when I was, 15. When I quit cigarettes, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I was up to 3 packs a day.
Ugh.
So I was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I was smoking a pipe, smoking cigars.
And what cigarettes were you smoking? Were you a cowboy killer?
Marlboro Lights I was smoking. It was originally Reds, and then I switched to Lights.
Well,
I thought it would be healthier.
Yeah. I quit smoking cigarettes.
Doesn't make a difference.
No. I don't even know if it's tobacco in those things anymore. Last time I had one, it's had to have been 15 years ago. It's like, wow.
I mean, when I started smoking cigarettes, it was $1.25 a pack. We would cut school, take our surfboards, go to Dairy Barn, get cigarettes, get beer, get the bus that took us to Jones Beach, West End. We would surf all day, drink and smoke. And I'll never. When it hits $5, I'm quitting. When it hits $7, I'm quitting. $8, and it finally hit like $10. $12 a pack, and I was smoking 3 packs a day.
Yeah, almost have to have a second job to keep that habit.
But
going.
you know what made me quit cigarettes? I mean, I've always smoked a pipe and always had cigars. I was at the gym one day and I'm watching this commercial while I was on the treadmill, right? For the new Jaguar. I go, that's a nice car. It's a really nice car. I would like that car. And then I saw, I don't lease cars, but the lease payment was like $699 a month or something like that. I'm going, who's going to pay fucking $700 a month to lease a car? And then I'm thinking about it. I'm going, I pay more than that in cigarettes.
Right. Those idiots.
Right? Those fools leasing a car. They could smoke 3 packs a day and spend the same money.
Right. Just think all the cigarettes you could smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah, I quit smoking cigarettes when my son was 8. Came home from school one day and he's bawling uncontrollably. I'm like, did you get in a fight on the bus? No. Tell me what happened. Oh, my teacher said you don't love me.
That crap. Let me tell you, I can tell you stories. Let me tell you something. They teach kids that when I was younger, I used to go to my aunt's house for Passover and stuff like that. And my other cousins' kids were there. And I'd go outside having a cigarette. All of a sudden, he would come out, Benjamin, I'll never forget it, because running back in the house. Jay's outside doing drugs, because that's what they taught them. So, it was a big deal. Considering back then I was also a pothead, him running back in the house and saying that really didn't help matters.
You could have told him, fast forward about 15 years, when I'm spending $700 a month smoking cigarettes, if I'm doing drugs, you're going to know it because there's not going to be any drugs in town.
I'm going to do all the drugs, all the drugs. So he came home from school crying. Teacher says, you don't love me. Okay, you got to tell me the story. She says, the teacher said, because you smoke, you don't love me and you don't want to live to see me grow up.
Okay. The teacher's right.
The teacher's right.
The teacher's right. How I got into this mess, I'll never know. The teacher's right.
So I immediately quit smoking cigarettes. And a bunch of guys from work were cigar guys, come out and have cigars with us. And for about 10 years, I smoked cigars. And then, from cigars, I went to Skoal, Copenhagen, and then pipes. So
I never did dip. Never did chewing tobacco. I don't understand the appeal to snuff. I mean, people do whatever they want, but I just don't see it,
I couldn't do, we tried that like in high school, you trying to do dip, and I'm way too nicotine sensitive. Put it in there and it wouldn't be long, and man, that room was spinning and throwing up and everything.
I have not found anything that gives me enough nicotine to satisfy me.
No.
When you're smoking cigarettes, 3 packs a day,
right.
Nicotine, I'll inhale cigars occasionally, out of habit,
Yeah.
But I'll inhale my pipe once in a while, just out of habit.
No.
'Cause I enjoy it.
Dark wrapper cigars are like that for me too. I have a dark wrapper cigar and I'm puking.
The Maduros?
Yeah.
I love a good cigar.
Yeah, I used to. The problem I have is $16, $17 for a good stick is just beyond me.
Look, you know what? Look, I have cigars. I just got a box from Warped, the Yokohama Black Honeys. They came out with them in 2017, and I was just about out. I have a box now, and they're not making them again until 29. So I figured, let me get one. And they're about $20 a cigar, but they're excellent cigars. But they're not the kind of cigars you get to smoke like cigarettes one after the other either. I'll have one occasionally, and keep them, naked in the humidor for a little bit. But look, you can get a cigar $6, $7, and they're excellent. Brick House. I love Brick House cigars from J.C. Newman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's one of the bands I have in my shadow box, and I loved the My Family, the Jaime Garcia.
My family cigars are great cigars, and they'll run the gambit from $6-8 up to $15-18.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Avos.
I like Avos.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're on. They're not the most expensive cigar, but they're not cheap either.
No.
But they taste good, and if I'm going to have a cigar, that's the kind I'll get.
You want a good cigar and not spend a lot of money? Factory Smokes. I forgot who makes them, but there's it's called Factory Smokes, and they're like the not so much the seconds, but they're not the premium. It's the premium tobacco and filler and binder and everything else, and the wrapper. But maybe there's a vein going through it, or it didn't make that cut for that label, so they put Factory Smokes on it. It's a great cigar. I think like $4 or $5.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other problem is when my humidor lost its seal in one of the moves. In fact, from Arizona to North Carolina, it lost its seal, and then at that point it's a chemistry set. And
I got done with the humidors, like actual humidors, years ago. I can't be bothered. You gotta just season them and then check them. I get bags, the big giant Ziplocs that I get those. I put my cigars in there. I put the packs in there. That's it. They're good for 6 months. I have an alarm set on my phone every 6 months. I change them. That's it. Or I add new ones.
There you go.
Don't have to do a damn thing.
Easy.
Nope.
That's what I need. I need easy. I don't need complicated. None of this should be complicated. Tobacco, pipes, cigar. None of it should be complicated. As soon as it starts getting complicated, it stops being fun.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
All I want to do is sit back and enjoy it. I don't want to work for it.
Yeah, I'm going to have a bowl of tobacco, but I have to schedule an hour to do all the stuff to get it ready.
Well, people ask me, how do you prepare your escudo? I take out the coins, I squish them up, and put them in my pipe. Oh, you prep it, you roll it, this, that. No, it's too much work. I don't want to work.
Yeah,
I work enough.
Yeah.
I want to take my tobacco, stuff in my pipe, and light it on fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So over the years, how has your tobacco changed? I know you've kind of probably been escudo the entire time, but how has your palate changed since you started off as a pipe smoker?
It really hasn't changed. I've look, my father started me with aromatics because we used to go to Wiley Frank all the time and get some. Then I got into vapors and Virginias, and I was pretty much stuck with that. And then English blends I started with and everything. So it's not so much that my palate's changed; it's become more refined. Because I smoke so much in so many varied blends, I can pull different parts of the tobacco out flavor-wise that I like or don't like. So I know I know what components I like. So when I see a blend that's coming out, if it has the components that I like, and I really wish, and I spoke to like Jeremy and Greg about this. I really wish like on the labels, and they don't do it. And I've said this before in our podcast. When you buy food and you look at the ingredients on the label, the first ingredient is the one that's the most in whatever it is you're eating. The last ingredient is the one that's in there the least. So when they give you the list of the components in the tobacco, if they were in that same order, you'd have an idea as to what was in there. If it said Dark Fire Kentucky first and Cavendish last, you'd have a better idea of what it may taste like,
Right. I agree.
If it says Virginia, Perique, and Latakia, but you don't know in what order it would be in an ingredient list, you really have no idea.
Yeah.
And you can't go by the tin note because the different Latakia and the different Virginias, they're going to give you a different tin note. So you can't say, oh, this is heavy Virginia. It may not be. It could actually be more Latakia, but it's so subdued in the blend, you don't know.
Well, you do that with your blends, though, right, Jim? Don't you list them in descending order?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep it simple. Hey, I don't like Latakia.
Okay. I agree with you, Jay. You pick up a tin and you look at the back of it. That's really no indication of what it's going to taste like.
No. Look, if you know you like Latakia, or you know you like Virginia or Red Virginia or Yellow Virginia or Golden, or you like a Cavendish or whatever it is, if you see the component that you like, then you got a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When you talk to Jeremy about that, what'd they say?
Sometimes it just works out that way, but
Mhm.
it's not necessarily the case.
No, I think that's more to protect their blending secrets. You know,
And it could be
they're
so. Yeah.
you know, I've read enough from Jeremy and about Jeremy and Greg and even Per George and Russ. They you know, it's like it's a secret. It's like, okay, well, you know, if you're off by 5%, it's a different blend. So, you know,
Oh,
I don't think,
absolutely.
Yeah.
you know, I don't think anybody's going to pick up a tin and go, I can replicate this. You know.
But I know people that have taken ribbon blends and separated what's in there, and multiple times. They'll take 2 bowls worth and they'll separate it, and then another 2 bowls, and try and determine which leaves are in there. The majority of the others, like, you're out of your mind. Just stuff it in your pipe and light it.
Mhm.
I, you know, I look at pipe tobacco. It's like I enjoy this or I don't enjoy this. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
if I don't like it, on to the next thing. You know,
You know what I get a kick? I always get a kick out of people that open up a tin and go, "Oh, this is amazing. I'm getting really a lot of bread notes out of this." And you haven't even lit it. You're just going by the tin note. Come on.
It never tastes anything like what it smells like.
No.
And the other thing too is, like, what you were saying. You're fortunate that you've got a fairly refined palate. Um, when I have a pipe tobacco, I just know whether I like it or I don't. I never really get like, ooh, I taste cocoa or I taste bread, or you know what I mean? I
Well,
never get anything like that.
I'll never get that on the first bowl. And look, every time they send us a tin and I open it up, you smell it. Either smells great or it doesn't. Most of the times, the tin note is always really good.
Hmm.
But that first bowl is just for me to, honestly, when I get a tin, this is what happens. Okay. I open it up and I light a bowl right away, because in my opinion, the blender jarred it in the moisture level that they would like you to smoke it at. So I'll take a bowl right away after I open it and I'll try it. And then I'll see how it lights, how it smokes based on that moisture content and the way it is. And then I'll decide if I want to leave some out for another bowl and for how long I want to leave it out. So it takes me 2 or 3 bowls before I even get into the blend. I'm just learning first how I want to smoke it. The third, fourth, fifth bowl, that's when I start tasting it more and getting more out of it. Because
Well,
if I can't enjoy the light of it, I can't enjoy the smoke.
yeah, yeah, true.
now
And then, but the pipe gets conditioned to it too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have a few pipes, so I try them
I've noticed that. I've
in,
noticed it.
in a few different ones.
Yeah.
is there a particular style of pipe you like to test blends in? Like
No,
if it's a first time, no, it just doesn't matter.
it,
No, just
no. It's whatever pipe I have out, or whichever one I'm enamored with for the day, or whatever mood I'm in, whichever one's in my pocket or my bag or on the table in front of me.
there you go.
You know,
And it's not like you know, what do you're up to like 10, 11 pipes now, right?
uh, I just broke the baker's dozen.
Do you have an annex at your house?
No. I have a few pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm way behind you, but I'm
And
I'm trying to get there as fast as I can.
it's funny too, because people always, how many pipes do you have? I don't know. I never counted them, to tell you the truth.
Mm,
I honestly just don't know.
No, my problem is that an artist will make one, or I'll see something that I really like, and then the next thing you know, hey, there's a box on the porch. What's in it? Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Somebody asked me the other day. They go, "Do you have enough pipes? Is there such a thing as enough pipes?" And the answer is yes. I mean, there really is. I mean, look, if you smoke one bowl a week, some people only smoke on the weekend. They might only have one bowl. So if you're only gonna have one bowl a week, how many pipes do you need? 4, 5? It'll last you a month, right? Maybe 6, 7. If you smoke a bowl a day, all right, then if you have 7 or 8 pipes, 10 pipes, you're still rotating them every day, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yes, you can have enough pipes. I just, find myself seeing something going, ooh, that's pretty.
See, and I completely disagree with you, Jay. I don't think that there is enough pipes. I have not. Mike kind of gave me some shit about that when he was on. It's like, how many pipes is too many? I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there.
Yeah, is there a number of two? Yes, there is. If you have more pipes than you could smoke in your regular smoking habit, whether it's one a day or one a week or whatever it is, and you can rotate them and not smoke the same one twice, then you've got enough. But I smoke 6 to 8 bowls a day.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Mm-hmm. I see Jim's sitting there. He's just shaking his head.
I may need 400.
Well, my problem is that I'll sit down and somebody will say, "Oh, make me a blend." Okay, so I'll make the blend and I'll go through 3, 4, 5 bowls of it. Just get a handful of pipes off the shelf, run a bowl through it, wait a couple hours, run another bowl through it, run another bowl through it. Like, okay, I think this works. And I have a bowl that sits on my desk of pipes that I need to clean after I, have a day of testing. And
you'll appreciate the pipe that one of our guys is making in Instagram Pipe Makers Club. Johan, freehand pipes.
Yeah.
So this month's challenge was for pocket pipes, fest pipes. So he came up with one, narrow, small and narrow like this, and it has 3 chambers in it, and he has a dial on it. So you can be smoking from 1 or 2 or 3 of the chambers, or the first chamber and the second chamber. It's like a perfect blending pipe.
It's like a pipe organ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I need to talk to Johan then. That sounds like something that.
Jim's view of pipes is, that question is, how many pipes is enough? It's like how many Mexicans can get into a truck? One more.
Yeah.
One more. It's a clown car.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I was 16, 17, I had a Jeep CJ7, an 84 Laredo. 2-door Jeep, the whole thing. I fit 12 people in that once. I made a U-turn, Hempstead Turnpike, and nearly flipped. I had to have everybody shift to the left.
Yeah,
and we were all just Jewish kids from the burbs.
They have a rag top on it.
Actually, I had the hard top, and I used to take the hard top off and the doors off, and I used to, lay a Confederate flag over the roll bar into the back. My father didn't appreciate me driving up the temple like that.
You could have.
Neither did the rabbi.
You could have had long hair. That's what you told him, right? Dad, it's either the Confederate flag going to temple or I get a tattoo.
Well, here's the worst part. I used to not shave my head bald, but I used to keep it, cut really short back then. And I did get the tattoo anyway. So it really didn't go well on the holidays.
Breaking boundaries everywhere he goes.
The holidays that you're not supposed to drive, and I pull up and park right out in front. Oh, there's the Furman kid.
Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And then my brother would walk up like he was supposed to. Oh, there's the good one.
Yeah, he's the good boy.
He's the good boy. It's funny. He turned out to be a cop, and I went into private sanitation. You figure.
Right. You're both shoveling shit for a living.
Ah, excellent, excellent.
Well, I had a CJ5 with a rag top, and
The CJ5 was nice. That had the rounded out door. I like that one.
yeah, but it was squirrely too. You could tip it.
Yeah. You know what I liked? Mine was the almost the last year before they changed to the Yuppie Jeep. I still had the big metal dash with the big round speedometer and the pull knobs. Then they went into the Wrangler, which was,
Yeah.
the pretty plastic dash and everything else, and the square headlights, and it was lowered down. Forget it. I had a 3-inch lift kit and 36-inch dick CPEX on it, and I thought my shit didn't stink.
It was. They started putting the little trap in the fuel filler pipe, so you're going to take the smaller nozzle with the unleaded gas, and you take a screwdriver and bang that out, and put leaded gas in it.
I came home one time. I left the top off and everything else. It poured. The whole thing got filled with water inside. I'm outside taking water out with a cup and bucket and everything else. My father walks outside and sat there watching me. He goes, "You dying?" Almost. The thing is loaded. He goes, "Why don't you take out the drain plug?" And then he showed me where it was. After an hour.
My daughter, son-in-law, grandson, and granddaughter all have Jeeps, and they have the duck thing. They have a box of ducks in their vehicle.
Oh yeah.
When they see another Jeep, they put a duck on the door handle because that's apparently a Jeep thing. And I'm like,
yeah, that wasn't a Jeep thing when I had my CJ or my Cherokee. You'd be driving with your foot sitting outside the door, and it's just 2 fingers out on the side, and then he give you 2 fingers. That's it, and you drive off.
Yeah.
See, and I didn't need a drain plug in mine because after a couple of winters,
well, your bottom was rotted, probably.
You could see the road.
That's what happened with them.
You hit a puddle and your legs get wet.
No. Excellent. So, on your pipe smoking journey, what are some things that have been discontinued that you'd wish they'd bring back?
In terms of tobaccos, blends?
Yeah, blends. Mm-hmm.
Stonehenge flake. That's about the only one. There's so many. I feel bad for newer pipe smokers because there's so much online on Instagram and on the blogs and this and that. Oh, Frogmorton this or this Caledonian one or Esoterica that nobody can find. Everybody's so quick to I have to have what nobody can have, rather than just trying what's available.
Tell me, Jay, why do you think the FOMO is so strong in the pipe community? Every time there's a small batch release, it lasts like 2 hours, and then it's all sold out. Why do you, what's the mentality behind that? Because I don't get it at all.
Look, nobody wants to miss out on it. You know what I mean? And a lot of these small batch blends, they come out and they'll come out again next year. They're small batch for now, until the next release, which is fine. People are hoarding them, for whatever reason. If they're hoarding them for their own enjoyment, their own pleasure to smoke, that's fine. I don't know if, and I feel almost guilty. I don't know if Mike does because he doesn't really smoke pipe, but when me or Bo or somebody else get these blends, I don't like to give a review or I'll give an opinion, maybe, I'll say what I think of it or what I'm getting from it, but not, oh my God, you have to get this, because nobody cares. If you're gonna buy it, you're gonna buy it anyway. It makes no difference what we say. But when there's only like 10,000 tins available and it goes live at 6 p.m., all of a sudden everybody's jumping. You can still find them at your brick and mortar. You could find them in various places. I don't know what the attraction is for people to buy 20 tins of a tobacco they've never had. In all honesty, I just don't.
I don't get it at all. In fact, we talked about it last week that if I can't have 8 to 10 bowls of it to try, I'll get a tin to try something. And until I get through 8 or 10 bowls, I won't think about buying, it won't go in the cellar.
I'll admit I have a lot of tobacco, and that may be a reason. I have a lot of tobacco, so when something new comes out, I don't necessarily need to get 20 tins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On something I've never had. The tobacco apocalypse is coming. All right. At some point, we're not going to be able to buy tobacco online like we do today. We're not going to be able to have the selection that we have. Tobacco may become unaffordable for some people. Well, I'm talking like, all right, in the UK, all right, a friend of mine over there, when he gets tobacco from smoking pipes, he pays the $10, $12, $13, whatever it is for the tin. Maybe his order is $50. By the time he gets it, and then it gets to the UK, then it goes through customs, and then he gets hit with the custom fee. Those 3 tins that would be $35 cost him $180.
Yeah.
Craziness.
So, that's there. Very similar in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that can't happen here. There are already states here that can't get tobacco shipped in.
Yeah.
So, if I was to never buy tobacco again, if I couldn't buy tobacco again, or I chose to never buy tobacco again, if I lived to 120, I could still smoke the way I'm smoking today. Which was what my plan was all along.
Oh.
So when new stuff comes out, I'll get a couple of tins. Yeah, if I like it, I'll get 6 tins. I'll have one to smoke and I'll jar and dip at it, and I'll put the other 5 away. And the reason I do that is the one that I've smoked, I may have already had a tin that I know that I like it, and then I'll put one in a jar, and then I'll put the others away, in a box, and then the one that's in the jar I'll have every now and then to see when I like it. You know what? This is good now. It's a year later. This is good. Those 5 tins are ready to be smoked, or maybe it needs more time. Then I know those 5 tins maybe need another 2 years. But the next release comes out, so I can buy it and put it to the back of the cellar, and then you're rotating it, and then at some point, when I think it's good in 5 years, I have those tins for 5 years, and the next year I have 5 more, and the next year I have 5 more. That's really what I did with the Scudo. I would buy 20, 30 tins here and there every year and just keep putting it to the back.
Which blender of a Scudo do you like?
What do you mean?
What do you
which version?
Yeah.
I've had Copes. I've had, ANC. I've had Galahad, the STG. The ANC Peterson, I think is good. I really enjoy that one. There was a change in them from STG and everything else, with the way that the Perique was done, rather than the disc in the center to being swirled within the whole Virginia thing. And not that it makes that much of a difference to me, because once it's aged, I crumple it. Like I said, I put it in. It's going to taste different from fresh to 5 years, and then nothing from like 5, 6, 7. It's when you hit that 8, 9, 10-year mark, it starts to change again in the tin, and then again at like 15.
Okay.
I'll tell you a story. So I get so much of Scudo, and I put it away, that there are times I find boxes of it that I didn't even know I had. Yeah. Well, what happened was when I bought this house in 2005. Okay, I hadn't sold my condo yet, but I knew I was. So I bought this house, and I had ordered the. I was putting an order in for a Scudo, 50 tins. 10. 5 tin sleeves, and so I ordered it. But I used the new address for this house to ship it because I know it'd be here by the time it came in. and we were unpacking whatever it was. Movers were bringing stuff in. I had the box. I just put it in the closet. I put it in the closet, and then unpacking, we ended up putting winter coats in that closet and everything else, and didn't think anything of it. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I went to go toss out a lot of the coats that were in there, make room for new ones, and I found the box. So I opened it up. 50 tins of Escudo from 2005.
Lucky
There you
find.
go. Yeah,
All right, so I
there
put
you
it to
go.
the back. I put it to the back of the pile.
There you go. Excellent.
It's like finding $20 in your pants.
You know, the other day I was at the mall and I found $300. I was like thrilled. I went around and then I found this poor lady. She was crying. And she lost $300. I felt terrible, so I gave her 20. Nobody should have to go through that.
No, not at all. That's very humanitarian of you, Jay. That's excellent. That is excellent. Oh, so Micah was commenting that he was tired of podcasting. How often are you guys going to do a podcast now?
Well, you know, it's not so much that he's tired of podcast. You know what it is? They're like you guys. You guys schedule your podcast. You do it here. The other guys, they do it every year. This week here. Every week they pour. It becomes work. And, you know, you have to get guests. You have to have content. You have to make it sound fresh every time. Me and Mike, when we first started doing it, you know, we were doing it every other week. So, you know, which was fine. But, you know, even then, every other week, it started to not feel real anymore. You know, and we don't script anything, but it didn't feel like it was just natural anymore. You know, so we said, let's take a break. So we took a break. And then we came back when a tobacco came out or whatever it was. Or there was a pipe show going on. I don't remember, but it felt good to go back on and record because we had taken a break for about a month or 2 months, whatever it was, and it felt great. So now we record when we have something to say, or we have a taster's choice on a tobacco, or something. A show is coming up, or we have some topic that we want to touch on. So then we record. So it's always fresh, it's always new, and it's always fun. It's got to be fun.
Well, you know, Tim and I started this because we were having a weekly phone call where we were cracking each other up and thought, you know, we should make a podcast out of this. You know, there's no scripting, there's no goals. It's just, you know, let's talk about pipes and tobacco and get some of the characters in the community on. And that's what we do. So, and we did this thing where I'd schedule guests like 6 weeks out. Oh, forgot all about that. I got somebody coming into town. All right. Well, now it's like Tuesday. Should we get a guest? Maybe not. Tim, what is that noise in the background at your place?
And why are your hands hidden under the desk there? Thank you.
There we go.
You're hearing a noise. What's it sound like?
Now that your hands are up, we don't hear it anymore.
Yeah. And now a word from our sponsor, Dolphin Wax. When you absolutely positively have to shine up the ride, Dolphin Wax.
Right.
Oh, you know, we were talking about fear of missing out, and I just watched the insanity that goes into it. And I'm actually on the Discord with the Long Island Pipe Club, and you know they posted the other day, oh, there's an esoterica drop, and it was just like they were all going wild because they could get esoterica, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, you know.
But you see, but that's the problem. You know, newer pipe smokers see this, and they feel they have to have it. You know, and it's not the case. Let me tell you something. And here's what I try and tell people, or newer smokers that ask me questions. You know, I'll ask them, what do you like in a tobacco, or what are you smoking now? You know, and do you enjoy it? What have you tried? You know, and not so much to steer them into a blend per se, but to find out what they like about the blends that they're smoking, for the components they're smoking. A lot of people don't know this, but you can go to smokingpipes.com, okay, and you can do a tobacco search, the same as you could do in the tobacco reviews, and just select the components that you want. You want Virginia, you want Perique, you want Cavendish, or you want Latakia, you want Oriental, and you want I don't know, whatever else, Burley. You can put just the components you want, and then you can select in stock or available, still available, and even a maker if you want, and they'll give you just that list. And then you can see all the tobacco blends that are available in the components that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Don't read the reviews, though. I tell people, just don't read the reviews, because nobody should be making a review that says this is wonderful or this sucks, because that's their own personal taste. If they had a big plate of egg foo young and then smoked the tobacco and it didn't agree with them, you're going to write that. And what for?
Yeah, was it this is a couple of years ago at the Columbus show, and there was a guy that was selling. He had a big a Rubbermaid tote full of tobacco. It was Balkan blend. I can't remember what it was called, and $5 a tin. And so I bought a couple of them, and they were all gone. Everybody bought them up, and he said, "Yeah, it's discontinued." I don't even remember who made it. Delicious. And so kind of to your point, you don't have to spend a bunch of money and go chasing the big names.
No.
That's
Look, and here's the other thing: there are plenty of veteran pipe smokers online or on Instagram who, if you just reach out and ask and say, "Listen, I've never tried that. I was, and I can't find any place. Can I trade you for some, or can I, buy?" They'll be more than happy to send you a sample or two. That's all it is. This is a great pipe. The pipe community is a great place. There's all right. It's a great place. There are a plethora, tons of very helpful people. There's an equal amount of people that are not so helpful, and not intentionally. They just don't. They're not as forthcoming with with stuff. That's all, and that's fine. It's their hoard. It's theirs. They want it. They bought it. They don't want to give it up. Great.
I don't think there's a better community on the planet, because I haven't run across anyone that wouldn't offer help or advice or guide someone along. It's absolutely remarkable. I have a very strong opinion about reviews, because when I came back to pipe smoking in 2019, I became enamored of reading reviews, and some of my favorite blends have terrible reviews. Savinelli Essenza Cipriata, I think the tobacco reviews on it is 2.3 out of 5. People just don't like it. But it fits my
right. Yeah, you can't go by that.
Yeah, it fits my palate perfectly, and I absolutely love it.
The only time I'll tell somebody to go by the review is you have to treat the reviewer as if it's your friend. All right. If he says something about a tobacco and you try that tobacco and you agree with him and you like it, and you try another one that he wrote a review on and you feel the same way about it, well, then, your taste and his taste are probably pretty close. So you can go, then again, in tobacco reviews, you can look up just that reviewer's reviews and see what blends he checked. They're don't go by one person's, take on a tobacco. You gotta, for what a tin of tobacco costs, $12, $10, whatever it is. Okay. Buy a tin and smoke it and try it. And if you like it, buy more. There are so many hidden blends that nobody buys that are wonderful blends. It's amazing. Nate on Price Pours and Pals, he gave away Winchester. But Winchester was a bulk blend that C&D had that is amazing. and you can get it for nothing. Buy pounds of it. And it tastes great. I told him, don't tell anybody. He did.
Yeah. Garrett from Smoke Snacks said, "Hey, I got this blend I think you should try, and here's why you should try it." So I tried it. It's Blue Ridge from C&D. Absolutely fantastic. Tobacco Pipes put it on their website and had an error in the pricing. It was $1.50 a 10.
How do you go wrong?
I bought 20 tins of it.
How can you go wrong?
And it's a fantastic tobacco. And
Smoke Snacks.
Yeah,
He
Garrett.
does the YouTube with his wife.
Yeah.
I sent him a bunch of tobaccos to try.
Oh, excellent. Well, there
I
you
sent
go.
him Edgeworth from 1954 and some. He wanted to try some heavier, stronger blends. So I sent him stuff that wasn't available here in the U.S. Like pea cake from Mostak, which is 50% Perique, black and gold, and I think a couple of others. I can't remember which ones.
Yeah, but he's doing that 100 blends in 100 days.
Yeah,
and I've made a couple of blends for him, and he's just another great person in the community.
Nice guy.
Yeah, and lives here in Colorado. So
Hey, that's right. He does. I just realized that. Yeah.
So
think of the Flat Cap Piper, the Pipe Awards.
Yeah.
But they put a lot of effort into that.
I know it was coming out, and Garrett had asked me if I don't know. It just slipped my mind when the whole thing was and everything else, and then I just saw the awards thing that he did.
Yeah, they put a ton of work into that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did. And Tim, what awards did we win?
We won a giant donut. We won...
Just the donut or the donut hole?
I'm not clear about it or anything. It's just that they're dead to me now. That's all.
Oh,
yeah, I'll eventually get to it to listen to it.
Yeah, we had them on a couple of weeks ago, and they were great guests. Man, Tim, I don't know what's in the background on your phone, but it is just roaring.
I got nothing going on here.
Are you outside or inside? You're inside.
Did it quit?
Yeah, it quit. Sort of.
Our phone tipped on a hard surface. I don't know. Maybe it's like feeding back somehow.
All right. So what's next for Jay Furman? What's coming up on your horizon?
Horizon, actually. Greg's new blend.
Ah, all right. I assume you've got tins of that coming, or already have it.
I was away this weekend, so I'll end up getting it on Monday.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I'll try that. I love Greg's stuff. And this is the second one that he has in the Zeitgeist line. The only blend I can never, what blend I couldn't wrap my head around was, and everybody let penny farthing, the shag cut one they did.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do a shag cut.
No,
tobacco.
Not your thing.
No, it is. It reminds me too much of cigarettes, which is really what it is.
No.
When we go to the show and Steve is there from Vermont Freehand, and he pulls out the vintage tins of cigarettes. I just can't do it because it's just a cigarette. I mean, I know it's not 100-year-old player cigarette is not what Marlboro Lights is, but I know if I have it, it's going to bring all that back to me. When I quit, well, you were a cigarette smoker. When I quit cigarettes, it took a long time for me to smoke Burley blends, because whenever I had a Burley blend, I wanted a cigarette right away. For me, the hardest part was because it was such a routine.
It was breaking the routine. Okay, I'm going out to walk the dog. All right, throw my pack in my pocket and my lighter, and off I go. And and I still, part of my routine now is 2 dog walks a day and stuff a big pipe full and moving on to the next thing. It became not a habit of, it was just a repetitive, what's the term I'm looking for? It was like muscle memory. You're just doing it out of reflex and instinct rather than the enjoyment of it.
Well, exactly. Look, it was to the point where, when you have a cigarette, you're smoking a cigarette and you're pulling up someplace. So you may have nothing left of that cigarette. So what do? You throw it out and you light another one so you have it so you can have that last drag before you walk into a building.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it. And, once I got into cigars more and realized that tobacco has a completely different flavor. And when I got back into pipes, I think that's why I don't like Haunted Bookshop so much, because that tastes like old dead cigarettes. Like you throw a pack, you lose a pack in the car and you find it 6 months later under the seat and you pull one out of it and it's,
yeah,
that's the flavor I get with Haunted Bookshop. And
it's only the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 years that I've really been able to enjoy Haunted Bookshop again.
Yeah. No, that one just doesn't work for me. And that's, I think that's the joy of pipe tobacco too. When you look at the variety of pipe tobaccos that are available and what's in the marketplace, if every house has 30 blends, you're talking about 10,000 different blends that you can draw from.
Pipe tobacco is so amazing to me. There is a tobacco blend for everybody.
Yeah.
Depending on what your tastes are, what you like, what you enjoy, what time of day it is, what you're eating, what you're drinking. There's a blend, and that's really what I enjoy doing. My habitual smokes are a Scudo. The first smoke I have in the morning. When I get up at 3:30 in the morning, I have a Scudo. All right, I have a cup of coffee, my Scudo. I read for about an hour, and then I'll have something else, whatever it is. An English blend. I don't do the seasonal thing. I have this or that, and I understand the idea and the principle behind it, where your taste buds are changing through the day because of the weather. But I'm having so much through the day, and I smoke indoors, or I smoke in the house basically, whether I'm up here in my pipe room or down in the den downstairs, or from outside, or I'm in the office, whatever. So it's not really a temperature thing for me. I enjoy English blends all year long, vapors all year long, straight Virginias, and aromatics. And what I really enjoy the most about pipe tobacco is, depending on what I plan on doing for the day, where I'm going, or just whatever mood I'm in, or what I know I'm going to eat later, that I know what tobaccos I'm going to have. Perfect example. I don't have a lot of sweets. I don't eat cake and cookies and all that junk. But it doesn't mean I don't have a sweet tooth. So I'll, go through my work day or whatever it is, and I'll have my regular blends. And then, somebody will bring in the office cake or cookies, and I won't have any, or bagels even. But I want them. So because that was there, if there was chocolate cake there, maybe that night I'll have, Bob's chocolate flake, just to give me that, with a chocolate, whiskey or something, or bourbon, just to give me that same thing that I missed during the day. It's my dessert and my sweet tooth kind of thing. 2 friends, they came out with, was it Homeward Bound? That aromatic. I love that. That autumn evening, I love those. I get Trout Stream. I could smoke those all day long. People keep telling other veteran pipe smokers, stay away from the aromatics. They're for beginners. It's a load of crap. You smoke what you like. That's it. If you enjoy aromatics, enjoy aromatics.
We actually told people the opposite last week. Said if you're a new pipe smoker, Get a vapor, get an English,
No.
get something else. Don't start with an aromatic.
If when a new pipe smoker asks me what they should get, and they've asked, I've had, what pipe should I get, this and that, and I tell them what pipes to get, for what their budget is, what they're looking for, what do they got, they want to get started on pipe smoking because they saw something. So what is it that you saw that interested you? And that's where I'll guide them towards a pipe. And then depending on the pipe that they're picking is the tobacco I'll tell them to try. Because if they're looking for a small pipe or a large pipe or, a Dublin or something, then the tobacco is going to, play different inside the different size chambers and the different shapes. So that'll tell me what tobaccos to, steer them towards. But I'll never steer anybody away from aromatic. Autumn evening, because you know what? It's not goopy. It's mild. It's flavorful. Everybody's all on, what about this cherry blend? Look, you want cherry blend? There's a lot of, you can get that Smoker's Pride cherry where you squeeze the bag and it all sticks to the bag and you could drain it out through a hole in the bottom. Okay. But, one of my favorite cherry blends, made by Galvin Hogarth, Top Black Cherry, probably one of the best ones out there. If you want to go with more sweet, but I'll put them towards Culp Blood Red Moon, or what's the other one that they have? It has like the newsprint cover on it. Can't remember the name of it now. But leave it out to dry a little bit. It's too wet out of the tin, so you don't want them to get tongue bite. You don't want the bowl to get all full of moisture. You want them to enjoy the smoke. So leave it out. And I tell them, if you want an aromatic, if you take it out of the tin, if you squeeze a bunch together in your fingers and you put it down, if it sticks together, it's too wet. Leave it out to dry.
Yep.
And then I would tell them to get Evening Flake, which is a mild vapor. It has just that little bit of sweetness to it, but it's not harsh. And Bullseye Flake. And then for an English blend, there's so many good English blends and light English blends. And you could also get a sweet English blend.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think for new pipe smokers, that learning cadence, and I have found that for me, the hardest cadence for me is with aromatics because I have that reaction to glycopropyl alcohol, and I have to just sip them. I can't rush the bowl.
Cadence is a tough thing to try and explain to people, as well as trying to teach them, because people breathe differently. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are mouth breathers, some people are nose breathers, some people are both. Some people, may have sinus issues where they can't actually breathe in that format. So what I tell people to do is forget cadence. Light the pipe, make the charring light, tamp it, take some in, draw from the pipe, hold the smoke in your mouth, and then put your tongue to the roof of your mouth. That'll force the smoke out of your nose for a retrohale to get the taste. Because if you can't retrohale, people sometimes, I don't know why, but some people have a problem understanding how to do that. But if you have the smoke in your mouth and you touch the roof of your mouth with your tongue, it forces the smoke out your nose. But take a couple of puffs on the pipe and then let it go out. You don't have to have, the one bowl repeatedly on one light. Let it go out. I've lit my pipe 3 times already while I'm talking to you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who cares? And then tamp it and then light it again. You don't have to, there are no rules. That's the bottom line. There are no rules. It's whatever works for you.
There you go. See? And that's where we have masters like Jay on.
No.
I have found
I'm still
that
very humbled by that, by the way.
Well, it was an incredible award, and it's well deserved. How many people, if I put a poll up tomorrow, how many people have you helped? I bet I would get 150 responses, in an hour. Jay, help me with this. Jay, help me with this. I mean, look at all the help you've given me. It's astronomical, all the people you've touched in the pipe community. So, attaboy. And one of the things, and I think you were touching on it earlier, do you think European and English aromatics are better than American aromatics?
Oh, that's a tough one. Do I think European aromatics are better than American aromatics?
Because I love Blue Note from Dan Tobacco.
Blue Note's nice. You want to try a good one? You want to try a really good aromatic? All right, do this. I'll send you some. Okay.
Mhm.
Gareth and Hogarth makes one called American Delight. Have you ever had it?
I think I have a jar of it. It's pretty good.
American Delight is good. American Delight compared to Autumn Evening or Homeward Bound.
Yeah, Autumn Evening doesn't do much for me just because I don't like maple flavor. It's not my thing.
Oh, okay. All right. See,
Yeah.
I love that. You know, tobacco. All right. You don't like the maple flavor because you don't like maple syrup, maple flavor, just in general, right?
Yeah, it's just not a flavor that I enjoy. I
Okay,
mean,
now
I like a pancake with maple syrup,
okay,
but
all right, right there.
I
Hold
don't.
on.
Yeah.
So, and so when you have that pancake with maple syrup, that pancake was just put in front of you hot at IHOP. Okay, the
Mhm.
butter's on there, it's melting away. The maple syrup is on there. All right, the warm maple syrup. All right, not
Mhm.
not Mrs. Butterworth's out of the refrigerator. Okay, and you take that sniff. Okay, and you take a big inhale of that plate on your right in front of you. It
Mhm.
smells delicious, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Does it bring back memories at all?
Oh, always.
Okay. And that is what pipe tobacco should do as well. When you have a pipe tobacco, there are scents, there are tastes, there are feelings. There are feelings with pipe tobacco. There are
Mhm.
feelings with pipes. Okay. So when I have one, and this is what should happen for it should bring back a feeling of something, of somewhere, sometime in where it just conjures up a memory, good or bad. Okay. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be a good one. It can conjure up a bad one, like haunted bookshop conjuring up cigarettes. You know what I mean? And your
Mhm.
kid thinking you don't love him anymore. You're going to kick him out of the house. All right.
Yep.
But what happens is all of these things have feelings and emotions. And to me, that's what it is. Uh, Different pipe tobaccos, when I have them, reminds me of certain things. When I smoke Four Noggins, okay, makes Three Blind Moose. That was my father's blend. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, when I smoke that, I think of him not because it's what he smoked, but it's because I remember smelling it coming from his pipe with his head tilted down over the chessboard while I was playing with him.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
for me, and pipes and tobaccos, the scents, the feelings, the aromas, they all have something for me.
Yeah. Yep. Uh, I would love to find Amphora Blue, which was my grandfather's pipe tobacco. And he was a true codger. That was the only blend he smoked. He'd smoke Captain Black Original if he had to, if they were out of amphora at the gas station or the drugstore. But I would love to find it because I don't. I know that the minute I light it's going to bring back a flood of memories.
I
But
don't. Do they still make it?
no, it's long gone because the amphora that's out now is owned by a different company. The amphora that when he was getting it, and I have a tin, an 8-ounce tin, but it didn't have any tobacco in it. But it
Oh,
was Danish, and the amphora now I believe is not Danish. I believe it's an American company that bought the label and the rights.
gotcha.
So
Yeah, things change hands. When they change hands, sometimes they change.
yeah, well, it went away for about 12 years, and then someone else bought them. So they just bought the label.
Right.
You know, it's like when Dunhill got out of pipe tobacco and Peterson bought them. Okay.
Right. Well, that's why I was so happy when Nathan Davis took over K Woody.
Oh yeah.
because I had said if he didn't, all right, or if something happened, and it just died in the end, some company could have come in and bought everything for the sake of taking the name, and garage sale, fire sale, all the equipment that was there and everything else, and just started making them, out of a sweatshop somewhere, putting K. Woody's name on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In fact, I just got a couple of older K. Woodies from MBSD Pipes, and in the process of refinishing them. I showed one off last week, and that was another thing. People, should I get an artisan pipe? Are you just learning how to smoke? Yeah, well, you can, but nothing wrong with a Graybo, nothing wrong with a Cobb, nothing wrong with a K. Woody.
I don't have a
nothing wrong-
Dr. Graybo.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have one. I've never smoked one. Don't know why. I know you're all on the Graybo. Nate's on the Graybo. I've never had one. I don't know. I have a few pipes, and none of them are Dr. Graybo.
My grandfather only smoked Graybos and Medicos, and the smallest, lightest billiards he could find, just tiny, tiny pipes. And I remember I went with him once to it wasn't Walgreens, it was Riberty Drugs, and they had a stack of the like a peg hook with Graybo pipes on them. And he says, "Oh, this is what I'm looking for." Pulled it off. I think it was $3 at the time. This was like 1974. And that's what he smoked, and that's what he liked. And he'd smoke them until they'd burn out, or he'd crack the stem and drive to the drugstore and get a.
Yeah, but back then, that's what pipes were. You had 2 pipes, 3 pipes. If my grandfather saw what I had today, he'd kill me.
Oh.
Okay, because that's not how it was supposed to be. How many pipes do you need? You know what I mean? He would have 2 or 3 pipes. He'd have one in the car, one in the car, one in his pocket, and he'd have one in the house. And then when one broke or burnt out, or whatever it was, he would go down and get another one. $5, $10, whatever it was. My father, he had more pipes, but that was him. And so it's like a generational thing. My grandfather had this many. My father had this many. I need to expand on that. Yeah.
And when he passed away, I got a box of pipes that was from his garage. My grandfather wasn't one that threw a lot of stuff away, and I ended up with, I think, 7 of his old pipes. And amazingly, there was a Meerschaum in it, and I never saw him smoke it, not once. I know he did, because it's got the telltale signs of it had been smoked, but I never saw him smoke it. It must have been like the special occasion pipe.
Right.
So, but that's, when we were talking about memories and things that my grandfather would come in and look at my pipe collection and go, "What are you doing? Well, why do you have this many?" I like to dust things mostly.
See, I don't like the dust things, so I don't have them on display. You have them on display.
Wow.
Mine are all in pipe socks and put away and in bins. I know where they are. And if there's one I'm feeling like, I want to smoke that pipe today, I will spend a half hour and dig through to find that one pipe.
No, see that's why you have to have mount, because I come in and I stand in front of.
That's no fun. That's no fun.
I stand in the tobacco wall and say, "What do I feel like today?" And I'll grab a tobacco, and then I'll go stand in front of all the pipes and go, "You know what? I want to smoke this one today."
You know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I reach my hand in blindly and take one out, and then I blindly go over and I just grab a tobacco, and that's what I'm smoking.
There you go. And I did the whole thing for about 2 years, where I would, log. I had a spreadsheet with all what I'd smoked and what pipe I had smoked it out of, and it's like, this is insanity. Just enjoy it, Jim. Don't try
Too
to
much
quantify.
work.
Yeah, don't quantify stuff.
I will say though, I can't do the spreadsheet thing. I can't take inventory of what I have and keep a track of it. And, I know what I have. That's the scary part. The really scary part is I know what I have. I know it's here. I know it's there somewhere. I know it. I just have to get it. But I know exactly what I have. I don't always know how much of it, but I know what I have.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who really get in depth, and they catalog their pipes when they got them, the size, and you could sort them by shape and by bowl chamber and by maker and by finish, and that's just too much. And then the tobaccos, how much tobacco, how many jars, how many are in jars, how many are in tins, and when they got them in this year and that year, that's just insanity as far as I'm concerned. But writing down what you get out of a tobacco, if it's a new tobacco to you, taking notes, I think is great. I really think it's especially for a newer pipe smoker. If you're just beginning and you're not sure what you like, it pays to write down what you're smoking, what time of day, what the weather was, what you ate, to see what it was that you got out of it. Because you could have it again a week later in another pipe or the same pipe, and it doesn't taste like that for whatever reason, and that's what you need to figure out. C&D came out with that book just recently, where you can write down, what you thought of a tobacco, and it gives you a kind of a guide with the circle and flavor, boldness, and this and that, as to how the tobacco was for you. I think that is one of the most excellent things put together for not just news pipes, but even veteran pipe smokers. If you want to, keep track of something that you had just gotten, I think that's the perfect way to start and begin a pipe tobacco journal. That'll at least get you to the right steps.
Yeah. Well, that's what when I started blending, I smoked everything individually, every component. I'd smoke it in a clay, I'd smoke it in a briar, I'd smoke it in a cob. What do I taste? How does it, what's the mouthfeel like? Just went through a series of notes, and, I've got 180 pages of notes on all the individual blenders that I smoked. And every time I get a new one, I'll start another note on it. And, after a while it becomes kind of second nature, but it sure helps, and there are times when there's something I haven't used in a while. I'll go back and look at my notes. Okay, what did I taste when I smoked this component? What was the feeling that it evoked? How did it feel? What did it taste like? Okay, and then I'll go back and review my notes and say, okay, well, I think this would pair well with this and this and this, and off we go.
Yeah, my father had me do that too, decades ago. He got clays and cobs and just individual components to smoke, to learn not just the flavors of them, but how to smoke them. Different Virginias, you'll smoke a different way than when something is Cavendished or something like that, or the different burleys. You're not going to smoke them the same. You're not going to smoke a white burley or a cube cut burley the same way you're going to smoke a red Virginia straight or just pure Latakia, which I don't really advise to any new pipe smoker, by the way.
I would tell you to not smoke a whole bowl of Perique. That's
now that I enjoyed that.
I've done it a couple of times, and it's
and there are different Periques.
Yeah, there are. And I've tried about everything that's available on the open market, that I can get, and I picked one that I really like because I think it's perfect for what I want to do, but smoking just a bowl straight of it, like my house, I have a house blend that I've never put on a blend list or sell. It's 60% Latakia, 40% Perique, and I have a jar of it. And some mornings I get up and say, I feel like Latakia Perique today.
That sounds like a Turkish espresso, Turkish coffee.
It's not for the faint of heart.
You know why I started helping or being more open with people, and because people would ask me questions, and I'm they'll ask me a question, and I tend to go on a little bit with suggestions and or thoughts and everything else to steer them the right way, because I don't want them getting stuck in Reddit and these forums and getting misinformation. And I was fortunate enough where my grandfather smoked a pipe, my father smoked a pipe, so I had all of this growing up, You know,
Mhm.
When I got my first pipe at 16, we went to Raleigh Frank. We picked out tobaccos. We talked about tobaccos. You know what I mean? So, you know, I had gotten these lessons all along the way. And for somebody new to, you know, go on Amazon and buy a pipe and then, you know, they're not getting a proper or even a reasonable education up front. You know, and what even at work when I hire somebody or whatever it is, I never set anybody up to fail. I will teach them and show them everything possible to not set them up to fail. If
Mhm.
they fail afterwards, after I know I've done all I can, 2 or 3 times, well, there's the door. I don't have to tell you. Uh, you know, when it comes to pipe, I have more patience. I don't have patience for anything, if you want to know the truth. I'm a very, when I want something done, I want it done, and I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm a very impatient person. When it comes to pipe smoking and the pipe community and whatever it is, I got all the time in the world. I don't care
Mhm.
because there's uh, it's something I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
So, you know, I feel bad when they don't have the proper education. So I'll tell them, try smoking a more Virginia component blend or a straight Virginia to figure out what they like. Like you said, you smoked all the different components. I've tried the different components. A new pipe smoker isn't doing that. They're not being told to do that or being shown to do that. They're being told, here, smoke this. And this is what they think it is, and that's the end of it.
Mhm. Yep. I I try to help as many people as I possibly can. And to me, it's a highlight when somebody calls up and says, "Hey, can you walk me through X or can you walk me through Y?" Yeah. What do you want to talk about? You know,
Exactly.
what are you smoking now that you like? Well, I've got these 6 blends and I kind of like these two and I don't like these two and I'm on the fence about the other two. Okay. What are the similarities between the two that you like? Look at the tin. What does it say? When you open it up, what do you smell? Off you go. You know, I spent a half hour this morning talking to someone that I made a custom blend for, and he says, I'm looking for this and I'm looking for this. Yeah, I can point you in the right direction, and that's a wonderful feeling. You know,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
to guide someone down a path. So,
And and newer pipe smokers, they don't know they don't know what they're supposed to taste.
mm-mm.
You know, they're not going to know if they're getting bread notes or cocoa or baking spices or a nutmeg or anise or car. Do you like it? You know, why do you like it? As opposed to the one that you didn't like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I've rarely tasted molasses on a hot tin roof. Some of the tobacco reviews. I'm getting this and this. Like, I don't get that at all from this. And I think it's very difficult for me at times with some people because everybody's taste is so different that what I taste and what you taste is going to be different. So, well, here's what you like in this one, and here's what you like in this one. So chances are what you like is X, and now we can go, now we can expand your repertoire from there.
Right. Now that I'm done with my escudo and was still here, I had to take out something else.
All
So,
right.
McBaron Vanilla Flake,
Oh, I have a
which
couple of tins
which
of that.
was my go-to aromatic. I don't know, 20 years ago.
You know,
Matter of fact, this tin is about 20 years old.
I really like Peter Stockaby's Optimum. I love Blue Note. I like Captain Black. I do like Carter Hall. Uh, you know, uh, it's not that I've
I,
just found so many that I don't like that I kind of punish the whole category.
I out of all of the regular codger blends, Captain Black and Red Velvet and Carter Hall, I never got into any of those. The one tobacco I really enjoyed, Sugar Barrel.
Oh, really?
My father used to get that all the time. I used to snag that from him whenever he had it. I used to love that. There was something about it. I don't know what it was.
I actually have a vintage tin of it behind me.
I see it.
Yep. And it's another one. That's why I get jealous of Steve when he's got those 70-year-old tins of cigarettes, because I'll tell you, cigarettes were massively different back then. There was actual tobacco in them.
Right. Oh, here's something. I just got shit all over the place over here, just so you know. John Middleton's. No,
Mhm.
John Middleton. So this was the pipe smokers kit that they used to put out.
Ooh.
So it's the tin. Here's the pipe that it comes with.
Look at that. A nice billiard.
So it has a billiard, and it has 3 of the tins. So here's Walnut, Regimental, and Old Mariner. And they're all still full.
Oh,
They're still sealed.
do you remember the sleeve of tinderbox samplers, where it would be, I think, 6 blends, and it would come in a tube, and it would be like 1 ounce? Everybody gave this to my grandfather every year for Christmas, and he'd get 2 or 3 of them every year because nobody knew what to get my grandfather.
I don't remember. We didn't have a tinderbox here.
Oh.
But I do remember back in early 2000s, C&D, when smoking pipes first started online, you would get from C&D, it was 6 or 8 2-ounce tins in the blue and gray, label tins in a big plastic sleeve. So you'd pick like aromatics, you'd have 6 of them. English, you'd have 6 of them. So I used to get those.
Well, every year for Christmas, Tinderbox would put a sampler pack together, and my grandfather would get them. And by the time I turned 18, I'd go over and he'd go, here you go, take some of these, and I had those tins everywhere. And some of the stuff I liked, some of it I didn't. Back then I wasn't as passionate about it as I am now, but it's just one of those memory evoking moments, though.
Well, see, now that's the other thing. Bulk tobaccos. Let me tell you something. There are so many great bulk tobaccos out there.
Oh.
Forget the tins. Go to the bulks. First of all, they're a great deal. Okay. Peter Stokkebye's Black Coffee. I think they were on sale one time. I think it ended up being like $18 for a pound.
Right.
I got like 5 pounds. It's delicious stuff. Because I know I liked it, though. That's why I got it. But
oh yeah, Newminster 400 Superior Navy.
Newminster 400, exactly.
Red Odessa from C&D. Those are things that are deep. Mac Barron's plum cake. You can get that in bulk. Great stuff.
There are so many bulk tobaccos out there, but my point on the bulk is because they're bulks, you could buy 1 ounce. You don't have to. And you can go to a Country Squire and they have an English sampler, or go to Wilkie Tobacco and they have an English sampler, or a Virginia sampler, an aromatic sampler. Buy the samplers. You know what I mean? Try those out.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, we've been going on for about an hour and a half, and I know that it's late at your place, Jay, and
Tim fell asleep. You there?
I had it on mute.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
To keep the noise down.
I thought you were asleep.
Just.
Well, anyway, we do have some comments from last episode, and even though it just posted, last night, Friday night, Saturday morning. Yeah. So we've got some comments. Topher 90210. Absolutely the best episode so far. Lots of time spent on the actual value that you guys deliver so fluidly. I love learning from you fellas when you get into your deep knowledge of pipes and tobacco. I learned a lot and had multiple oh wow moments. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Terry Brewster. Really great show. A lot of good tobacco insight. Always wondered how much casing or topping affected the weight of tobacco. I agree with you, Jim's. Navy blends rock. Well done, guys. Simple Georgian, Willie Lee. I really enjoyed the conversation about tobacco in this episode. It has renewed my interest in a deeper study of blending. Thanks for the information. And as always, Yusuf Syed. Good morning, beautiful mirror pipe. Awesome video. Nice conversation on tobacco. Informative and educational. Thanks for sharing, and greetings from South Africa. So there you go.
South Africa.
Yeah.
You got some long arms. You guys got reach.
He has been commenting on our episode since I think episode 2 or 3, and he comments every week. And if you haven't been to his channel, he's got a YouTube channel. Just a wholesome, nice guy. Absolutely fantastic. The kind of the polar opposite of us. So I promise I'll get to the new blends that I've whipped up of late. One of which I just sent to Jay to see what he thought of it. The Ciudad Antigua, the recipient, the Iron Mike, has had a couple of bowls from it, and he really likes it because he wanted something a little more robust. So we'll see what Jay has to say about it. But
yeah, I haven't that, but the one that we did, introspective, I've had all weekend. It was excellent. It was exactly the first iteration of it was, and I really wanted a pressed tobacco. I wanted a cake. But you went through a few things. You sent it to me as a ribbon that it just wouldn't take as a cake. And you know what? It's exactly what happened. As a ribbon, it had all the flavor and the boldness that I wanted. It had that hazelnut background in it. Not too much, just enough. It's. I don't often put cream in my sugar in my coffee. I drink my coffee black, but every once in a while I'll put some of that hazelnut cream in it, after my third cup. And this is exactly what I wanted it for those moments, for those times where I just needed to sit back and just be. That's what it is.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
I'm humbled. Thank you.
Introspective was a home run.
Perfect.
I would put it up there with my Gemini.
Ooh, that's high praise indeed. Because that continues to be a crowd favorite.
Oh, really?
That double. I had a guy order 12 jars of it this past week. He goes, "Yeah, I really like this one. What else do you want?" "No, just this one. 12 jars." Okay. Yeah. Off we go.
That double pressing was a concept I had in my head. I just wasn't sure if it was going to work, and then I said, "You know what? It absolutely will work," and it did.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Gemini is a double press. I take the vapor side of it, the Virginia's and Perique, press it, and I take the Cavendish and Latakia and press it, and then rub the whole thing out, and then repress it. And it is, I've gone through 2 jars myself, so it is fantastic. Greg from the Long Island Pipe Club, I've done a trifecta of blends for him, and the latest one is Egg Roll Goes to London, which is a what I would consider to be a light English blend, and it has been well received by the target audience. But we'll get to those on the next episode. So there you go.
It's my egg roll.
Yeah, egg roll.
Yeah.
That even made a blend for Willie Lee, who commented on the Simple Georgian, Old Confederate. He wanted an American English blend, and whipped that up for him, and that's in my wheelhouse.
You have a lot of blends on your list, and I have had. Well, I've had all of them. I haven't had any that I disliked or I said I can't smoke this. They're all very palatable, and the majority of them are actually quite delicious. Port Marion, I love that blend.
I am absolutely humbled, Jay. Thank you. Port Marion, So the reason, you know, the story why I got into blending, they discontinued Acadian Perique. I can make, you know, I can do this myself. And you know, I got mad at Mac Barron, and Port Marion was my last attempt at making something that I thought was comparable to Acadian Perique. Did it copy it? No, not at all. But damn, it's
Doesn't
something
have to. It
special.
doesn't have to copy it. It just has to be good, and it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a new Southern Bitters blend. It's called Pelican Key, that has lemon bitters on it, and it's a Virginia forward, lemon leaf, and some red Virginia. It is spectacular. I really
You know,
like it.
you know, I really think when it comes to tobaccos, look, there are, and I did a post on it. You know, we need the companies to make tobaccos. We need and I call them baristas, to make the other blends, because you know it's just another rabbit hole. It's just another, and you don't have to have, 20 pounds of it put away and sell it away. It's just something different, and you need that in your repertoire of tobacco, something to have.
Yeah. I got into this because I miss, you know, when I was younger, my grandfather would take me to Tinderbox, and there was actually a tobacconist in our hometown where you could go in and he would make blends for you. And I fell in love with the story of Kramer's. And right now there are 71 blends on my list that were made for someone that contacted me, you know, and said, I want you to make me a blend. And I kind of
Yeah,
that's
where Kramer's blend came from, and what's the one that okay, what the hell is he? I forgot his name. The Jack Dempsey or whatever it was. Dempsey's
So
tobacco.
there was Father Dempsey,
Father Dempsey, right?
and then there was Edward G. Robinson's
Right.
blend, and you know, and I fell in love with that story, you know, and that's kind of the niche I try to fill. So
You did it. You did it. You did very good. It's
all right.
excellent.
Well, thank you.
Oh,
And
Tim, you're back.
there he is.
Or not.
There.
No, I'm here. This has just been a real pleasure tonight. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you so much for being on. I absolutely love talking to you.
I had a great time.
Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 44, and we will see you next week.
Hey, Jay, thanks a lot. Good seeing you.
You too. I'll talk to you guys later.
All
All
righty.
right.
All right.